that's when this profound experience just happened. And out of nowhere, this amazing radiant light came in from above me. And in that moment, I could feel this change in the energy around me and around my body. And it was like nothing I had ever experienced. And it was pure love.
When I met Angelica at Dr. Joe Advanced Follow-Up event in May 2025, and I heard her incredible story of awakening and healing, I was blown away. And I was so amazed that I thought we need to bring this story to more people and to inspire. So Angelica is here, and we would like to welcome you to the Family of Light podcast, where we talk about spiritual awakening, incredible journeys of people, and we're so happy to have you. My name is Sergey. I'm host of this podcast, and I would love to ask you, hi dear Angelica, please share your incredible story of awakening, of coming to incredible service and gifts that you are bringing to humanity now, and maybe just give an introduction of who you are.
Yes, definitely. Hi, and thank you so much for having me on to do the podcast with you. I'm so excited. And I was just thrilled. Honestly, the day that I met you and Maria was the highlight of that entire week at the Joe Dispenza event. Not that his stuff wasn't good, but I will say that meeting you guys was the highlight for me. So I thought it was really funny when we met because I tend to not tell everybody about my experiences right off the bat, especially with the galactic beings, because not everybody knows how to handle that information. But it was funny because you were actually wearing a shirt that had blue beings on it. And so I hadn't noticed it because of how we're set up during the healing portion of the event. But I think definitely it was synchronicity having you two seats down from me, and then the very nice woman in between us, excuse me, that kind of facilitated the information coming out because she could tell I was kind of holding back. But I'll never forget that day of excitement when I said two beings came down to assist with the healing as I called in all of my spiritual family and my galactic guides. And I'll never forget how you just jumped forward with this amazing excitement to tell me, I saw them. There were two of them. And then, of course, my excitement back was just like, oh my God, you saw them too. It's always a wonderful feeling like, okay, I'm not the only crazy person in the room.
Yes, just for the context, we met each other during the Coherence Healing event where energy is over the roof, and a lot of people see energies, see blue healers, see different kind of incredible experiences, and we were part of the same experience, and that's how we met, and that's a level of excitement I will never forget. And we talked about what we experienced. So
Yes, definitely. But yeah, so that was a wonderful, memorable experience that I will always take with me. And but I think the conversations that followed were also very sacred. So yeah, so just a little bit about me. I had not really had experience in the past with galactic beings, but on my journey, things kind of began to open up for me. And yeah, they kind of came in towards within the past, I would say, several years as I was doing sessions with people. And I know that for a fact that I would not be on this journey right now had I not have experienced some deep hardship with illnesses.
yeah, it's part of the journey, as we say, but your journey is fascinating, and I would love to, if you can share what you feel, share where you started, how it brought you to the place where you are, sharing amazing gifts, because how you helping others and the experience that you have is totally incredibly fascinating.
Sure. So, my first experience, I'll never forget it because I was on my healing journey and I was just doing a simple clearing of the energy practice. And I remember waking up that day and I felt very down, very emotional. I felt that feeling when you're just cranky, you wake up and you're just like, you're not yourself. And I didn't want that output, that energy to be given to other people around me. So I remember telling my husband, I just need some time to myself this morning so that I can do a little bit of energy clearing and meditation. And so I began following a simple tool that I learned from an amazing energy teacher that I met on my journey. And I began clearing my energy. And the idea is you clear your energy until you feel a switch, a change in your body. And you don't stop until you feel that. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. That's where your patience comes in. So I began clearing my energy field, clearing my energy. And about 10 minutes in, I felt nothing. And 15 minutes in, I felt nothing. And I thought, damn, okay, I'm going to keep going. I don't want to feel like this the rest of the day. 20 minutes, nothing. 25 minutes, nothing. About the 35-minute mark, as I'm still just running my energy, that's when this profound experience just happened. And out of nowhere, this amazing radiant light came in from above me. And in that moment, I could feel this change in the energy around me and around my body. And it was like nothing I had ever experienced. And it was pure love. It was that moment when you connect to source energy. And I remember just tears running down my face because of the experience was so profound for me, because I wasn't looking for the experience. I wasn't even expecting it. I was just simply wanting to clear my energy so I wouldn't be cranky the rest of the day and be angry with my husband for no reason. So that happened, and then a vision came to me, and I was standing in a field and purple flowers popped up all around me.
Wow.
A million purple flowers. And I remember just feeling like, what in the world? This is so amazing. And at the moment, I didn't realize the meaning to it. I was just really deep in the experience. It wasn't until afterwards that I realized that was my true first remembering and activation for me, and that deepening connection to source, but also to spirit that had been broken in the past from religious ideology and so forth.
Wow, what a fascinating story. And of course, you went through a very difficult period, right? A lot of challenges. And while in the moment we do not know, looking outside or looking what we went through now, can you maybe tell or share what gave you the strength of going through this, and what was your compass going through there? What did you feel? And was there a moment where you knew there was something bigger that guiding you so you can trust it?
Yeah, so I honestly wouldn't be here right now talking to you had I not have gone through a terrible, terrible illness. It was really tough and lasted over a decade of me going to tons and tons of doctors, trying every treatment you could think of, from general Western medicine all the way to naturopathic and every type of healing modality you could think of. I tried, and with no hope, because nothing was helping me. And I think it was then, and you asked if there was a moment that I had that feeling of knowing. I actually didn't. What's interesting with my story is I actually used to be very religious. And I wouldn't say religious to the point where you see some people and they read the Bible every day, but I was brought up with it, and I was brought up with that construct, and that's all I really knew. That's all that was really taught to me. And so in my
Mhm.
deepest, darkest hours, I called out to God every day, all day long, because I was bedridden. I had a wheelchair. My body was not functioning. I couldn't even leave the house. I was in adult diapers and I almost died. So my body would go into just random panic attacks all day long. And I wasn't able to sleep. If you can imagine not sleeping every day, all night, just you go into like little bouts of like 10 minutes of as soon as you start to fall asleep, your body just jolts awake because of your autonomic nervous system being so out of whack. So what was really scary was all of the things that my body was going through and experiencing. And I called out to God regularly. But what was crazy was in those times, and I'm just speaking for myself, I could not have felt more alone. I fell into a deeper depression, so deep that I had suicidal thoughts. And I felt so lonely. And I just wondered, how could this be? I'm praying to God, I'm asking Him for help, and I felt nothing. And it wasn't until I stumbled upon a documentary that was given by a professor in Britain. Her name is Francesca Stavrakopoulou, and she's a British scholar and she does documentaries and so forth. And so, anyways, I watched this documentary where she shows evidence that there is pottery and these little figurines where the ancient Jewish people used to pray to a goddess. And that blew my mind because what happens if there's a goddess? Well, it totally rips out the rug from all of the most major religions that are practiced on this planet today, because the construct is built off of there being one God and no one is at his level. But now take this away and put in that there was a goddess along with the God and they're equal, and she is just as revered as he is because she is the one that can give life, give birth. This totally is everything. So in that moment, I was shocked. And prior to what I do now, I was a trial litigation paralegal. And so research and fact checking is part of me. It's what I do. And so I began researching and fact checking everything that this professor said. And sure enough, there was so much evidence that these were in fact facts. And so what happened after that is that it ripped everything out from underneath me. I felt like I had no footing. I was lost. I was completely lost for 4 months. And I was so confused, so deeply confused, because I felt like, well, what is life then? And then all these greater questions began to arise. And it's like, well, if this isn't true, then what is true? And is some of it true or is none of it true? So I began asking these deeper questions that just led me, of course, into a deeper discovery. And it was then that I began to really start to understand that all the questions that I always had before, it was good to have them, but the only problem was I was asking the wrong questions. I just needed to be guided to ask the right questions. And so when I began asking the right questions, that's when things really started to come together for me. And the medical Qigong that I had studied before really started to come into play. And that's when I learned about the neuroplasticity, that really came into play. And had I not been able to begin to clear those religious blocks, I would have never been able to dive deeper into the medical Qigong practice or the neuroplasticity, which we know you are able to rewire your brain without physically touching anything, which is what Western medicine teaches you, right? If you can't see it and touch it, then it's not real. So after I began just really connecting the dots with things, that's when things really started to take off for me. And my gifts began to increase. They began to just flood in. So I wouldn't say that for me, it wasn't like I had that deeper knowing of like, oh, there's something else out there. I think for me, it was my desire, my true desire to live. It was the fact that I said, I am not going to die. I choose to live. And that deep desire to live is actually what kept me going. And that's what also helped push me into just being open to finding anything out there. And then, of course, once, like I said, I dove into neuroplasticity, my true healing began and
Nice.
everything just opened up for me.
Wow, that's a very beautiful story and answer to the question. You mentioned that when you first realized that you have these incredible gifts, and maybe you can tell a little bit more to audience about what are you doing now and what was your journey towards discovering that you have abilities that can help other people, and how did you start trusting with these gifts and with these abilities? Can you tell us more about this part of the story?
Yeah, of course, that's for me is like one of the most exciting parts, right? Because I could have never in a million years thought that I would have these abilities. Now, granted, my first ability came in when I was 15, and that's through dream state. So my first gift has always been through dream state. And I had prophetic dreams. And so at such a young age, that was pretty scary for me because in my mind I thought, okay, how am I able to dream the future? But even going back then, even at that age, I began to question what was taught to me under religious structures because they demonize those things. So I kind of suppressed it. I didn't speak about it to people, but I had a very strong gift through dream state. And back then I didn't really use it. It was kind of funny because I would dream about different things or friends. And at times I had the funniest experiences where, like, for instance, this one guy wanted to talk to me and go out with me, and he led me to believe that he was single. And so lo and behold, I had a dream that showed me he in fact was not single. He had a girlfriend. And when
Oh,
I
wow.
Yes, it's a very funny story. And when I called him the next day and told him, "So, tell me about this girlfriend you have." He lived about 40 minutes from me. He drove to my house in 20 minutes to try to make excuses and find out how I knew that he had a girlfriend. And if someone had told me or revealed it to me and who I was talking to get this information. So that's one of the funniest stories that I have with my dreams giving me messages and showing me things. So that's just the first thing. But after I began to really open up and I broke down this construct and I broke down these rules and everything that religion taught me. And that's when my gifts started coming in. So, another experience that I had through my dream state, which showed my progression, was a friend of mine from childhood began wanting to reach out to me, but she didn't know my number. And she had an aunt that she was very close to that had passed away. And
Mhm.
she would speak to this aunt all the time. And she told her aunt, "I really wish I could find my friend Angelica." And I had a dream. And in the dream, her aunt and for some reason, my friend's name kept coming up to me. And for whatever reason, at that moment in time, I could not remember her last name. And and I kept saying, "I'm feeling my friend, but I can't remember her last name to try to find her on Facebook." And then lo and behold, I had a dream, and her aunt that had passed away came to me in my dream and told me, "The friend that you're looking for," and then told me her entire name so that I could find her. And I found her within 30 minutes and told her the story, and she just began to cry. So my gift through dream state began to expand. And then after that, I began to study the Akashic records. And the first time that I even read a paragraph of how to access spirit guides from the Akashic records, I immediately had a spirit guide come in for my husband's coworker. Again, not something that I was expecting because I just literally read a paragraph, got up, went to make some coffee, and then I had a spirit standing next to me that had come in for my husband's coworker. So
Wow.
my gifts just began to roll in. And then after being able to connect to spirits, they began to guide what I did and practice differently. So what I was doing in medical qigong when I would do table treatments, they began to enter and they began to guide my treatments. They began to stand in with me, place their hands in my hands. Sometimes they would just do the work themselves and I would just step back and say, "Okay, you've got this." And other times as I'm doing it, they would channel the energy through me. But something that's so interesting, back then when I was reading the records for people, that's when galactic beings started to enter. And I had never heard of galactic beings before. I had never researched them. I had never read about them. So when they began to come in, I'll never forget the first time that it happened. And I was reading for someone and this being came in and I felt nervous and I was just like, "Oh God, like I don't know." In my head, I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm seeing, and I don't know if I can tell her because this might really freak her out. And not to mention that I don't even know where this being's from. And when I told her, I decided to tell her, and she was so nonchalant. She was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, them. I know about them. I just don't know which planet I'm from." And so that really blew my mind because I thought, "Oh my goodness, this is getting crazy." So after that, I was actually really busy and I still didn't do any research. And they kept coming into my sessions for people. They continued to come in and come in and come in. And someone finally asked me, well, where are you from? And I was like, this is really funny because I've never asked that before. And one day after I finished my medical Qigong practice, I went into meditation and I immediately went up to my ascended master and I said, hey, am I from somewhere else? Like, if I am, let me know. And sure enough, immediately he came in and he said, we've been waiting for you to ask. And he said, you are, you're a star seed. And I was like, what is a star seed? Great. Okay, now I'm going to tell people I'm a star seed. And I said, is there a place you can tell me? And he said, yes, Andromeda. And I was like, oh my goodness. And at that moment, the beings came in. I see, so I have that sense, and I could see what they look like. And so, going back to me being a prior litigation paralegal, I had to fact check. And so, I went straight to ChatGTP and I said, what do people say that Andromedans look like? And I was mind blown. What it described was everything that I had saw. And this is basically how it has been for me. And I think that's important to say because for me, as I began to have like x-ray like vision, as I do table treatments and I can see inside of someone's body when something should not be there, and I could feel and I hear messages, and I'm a great deep empath. So I'm feeling the trauma that they've experienced in life. I'm being taken generations back to where it began. I'm being shown the emotional blockages. But what I was saying was is I think that it's so important to note that this was how it was important for me to become awakened on my journey. Because had it have just came out to me so many years ago, I would have literally thought I was going crazy. And each time something new came out, it wasn't because I read a book or because someone told me. It happened to me, and then I had to go fact check and make sure, is this something that's real or am I just making this up? And when I began to discover that there was a whole world out there of people and books and experiences, and it wasn't just me, I I knew that something huge was shifting in me and for my future because I was no longer alone walking this journey. I just needed to find the right people on my path.
Wow, what a beautiful story. Every facet of the story is so unique and so incredible, so inspiring. You mentioned that now you see your journey from different perspective and you see many people who you are helping and you can see how it unfolds for them. So for anyone listening to this podcast and who is going through this journey, through different stages of the journey, through pain or fear of confusion, of awakening, what would be like, what message would you tell them? What you would most want them to know right now from your heart?
So I would say for those of you out there that are struggling with an illness or going through a painful time in your life, I would say don't give up. That desire to seek and find, if you don't have it, find it, dig deep for it, because there is something on the other side for you. I almost died and I had lost all hope. So if I can go through this, and I know countless others have gone through some really tough times, I know you can too. So continue asking questions, continue searching, and continue just loving yourself because you're completely perfect the way you are. You're not broken, you're being broken open so that you can remember who you truly are.
Thank you for this beautiful message and this beautiful journey. You are bringing many, many gifts that you discovered, that you fact checked, that you learned, that you developed. Can you tell people what are you doing now? How are you helping those on their journey, those in pain, those in discovery? Because we are here for each others, and this is our mission to help each other on this journey. So what can you tell about what you're doing now, how you can help, where people can find you and what you do? What are your gifts?
Sure. I use the titles on my website and for clients that are booking because that's what they understand. That's what they can relate to. But I honestly don't really like to attach to titles of things. Naturally, spirit has come into me, which I know now is what they were showing me was some ancient shamanic practices. So, all of these things, the medical intuition, are what I do for people to help them on their journey. But if you break away all of the words, all the titles, that the labels that we give each other, it's just energy. I try to help people find that root cause of that illness. What is behind it? Where did it really begin? Or I even help them with questions of what is the next step in my business because I'm lost. I try to meet people where they're at, whether it's an illness or whether they're having difficulty knowing where to go next in their business, even if it's connecting with a loved one that's passed away and they want to talk to them. Or maybe they know that there's a loved one that is stuck in the middle world, which is what many people call a ghost, someone that has passed, but they didn't pass on to the higher realms. They're stuck. If it's going in to help them and move them up, take them out of that stuck place. I do all of that and I try to meet people where they're at and I continue to learn and grow every day to expand my knowledge and my abilities for myself and for those that I assist. So it really is, like I said, it's not really just one thing. I help with moving energy and I try to meet people where they're at. And if it's something that I don't feel I can do, I'll give referrals and I refer them on because to me it's not about the money. Of course, we should all make money for what we do, but it's not about the money for me. I truly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, I want people to be able to progress to a state of
Nice.
feeling alive and free, unburdened from emotions or trauma. So that is my goal. My goal is to assist human beings on the planet right now achieve a higher state of being. And if I can't do it, then I will help you find the person that can.
Wow, thank you so much for this incredible story. It keep building up and I'm even more amazed. So as listeners, I would love to ask you, how do you stay connected to your gifts? How you keep expanding? Because I know that you are non-stop, you are learning new things. You just completed a course for shamans and you are always on the go. So what are these practices? What is your routines, daily rituals that help you to engage with this incredible world that we're living in?
Yeah, so I'm constantly learning. And I think it's through that state of learning is where each and every single time I just see even more how everything overlaps. Everything is connected. No matter the name of the modality or the practice, it all connects in some way, whether it's Qigong or it's Reiki or it's hypnotherapy,
Um,
meditation, all of it connects. So for me, something that I learned that I love from my first energy teacher was you learn a ton of tools and you pick the ones that resonate with you the most and you stick to those. And so as I go through this journey and I'm just learning and learning and learning, I have these tools in my toolkit that I absolutely love and I stick with. And one of them is Qigong practice. And that can be similar to like someone's yoga practice. For me, it's my Qigong because for me, I love movement. And in my Qigong practice, I incorporate movement, breath work, and meditation and sound many times, all within the hour of my practice. And it
yeah.
really takes me to this state of being centered and calm. And after that, one of my tricks that I teach my clients that want to go further is going straight into a meditation right after that. And when you do that, what's happened is after you go through an hour of qigong practice or maybe even 30 minutes, it's taken your brain out of the analytical mode because now you're focusing on your movements and your breath. And once you reach that state of calm, once your nervous system has switched from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic, that magical thing happens when you go into meditation. That's when you have those magical experiences. So that's
Wow.
one of the things that I like to do daily. And if I'm in a rush, even 10 minutes Qigong, movement and breath work is great. And maybe a quick every morning, I'll tap in and I talk to my guides and I'll say just a quick check in. And I said, hey, I'll ask them, I'll say, hey, what is the most important thing for me to focus on today? Or where should I focus my energy? And if you have a long list of things and you're like, we're human, we're living in the 3D world, so we're not perfect. We need reminders. It's a good reminder to just check in and get some assistance. And so they'll many times they've guided me to focus on the most important thing. And I kid you not, it's saved me hundreds, even thousands of dollars at times when I thought in myself, I'm in my head and my ego is talking and I'm like, I really want to do this today and I already have a plan. And my guides come in and they say, no, we really think you should do this. And I'm kind of fighting with them over it. And I finally give in. And it's those times that I don't give in. I'm really regretful. Like, I should have listened to them. But all of the times that I listened, it's just such a magical moment to just feel I'm so glad I'm to this point in my journey where I can just let go. And even if it's something I don't want to do, I do it anyways because I'm being given the guidance for it. So that's something I highly recommend people to just tap into their guides daily and just get a little bit of guidance. And I say the third thing is screen time. Oh my gosh. Our phones are so addictive. Honestly, they are. And when you just give yourself that break, even if it's for 2 hours, you begin to start feeling like you're coming back to yourself, your true self, because your nervous system starts to adjust. And that itself is creates a massive change within your energetic body. And that's very, very helpful for when you do want to get into a deeper practice. So I would say pick a tool that you love and practice it daily. Clear your energy daily, morning and night, because you should know what you're feeling inside. If you don't know your energetic body and what you're feeling inside, then you're not going to know if you picked up something from someone else and if it's theirs or yours. So if you're on a great state in the morning, go through a quick check and checking in your energy fields. Okay, how do I feel? What am I thinking? What am I picking up? You'll know immediately, is this from me or is this from someone else? And if it's from someone else, release it with love and you feel great again. And I would say that is super helpful to do daily too. So, those are a few of the things that I would highly recommend people to do on a daily basis for getting to know your energetic body better and also deepening your own spiritual practice.
Thank you so much for sharing this incredible tool set. There is something that I would love to cover, which might benefit our listeners, is on my own reflection. When my journey was undergoing and when I had the darkest hour of my soul, darkest moment of my soul, I didn't know what to do and I was isolated. I felt alone. I was afraid to die and I could not, I was shocked. But then at some point, I had someone in my life who was my guide at the time and who helped me to heal my inner child, to introduce me to the concept of my inner child and help me to go back and to find energy reasons of why was happening, what was happening with me. And also reflecting on what you said earlier, that we are going through different modalities. However, it's one journey. What would you can say to listeners who are in different parts of the journeys and who might benefit from understanding where they need to go inside into their heart, or where a guidance can help them and they can find a guide who can lead them the way? Can you please share what you think and what you feel about it?
Sure. I First of all, I think that there's no perfect modality. I think that whatever you start with, go with it. Go deep into it because you can learn different modalities and what you'll end up learning afterwards is that there's an overlap with all of them and they're doing similar things with different titles or different words or different descriptions, but they're all doing the same things. And you might pick up some new tools, and if you switch modalities, you'll definitely pick up some new tools. And the different cultures do them in different ways. But in the end, I think what matters is finding something that resonates with you and going deep into it, healing through it, allowing yourself to explore it fully. And if you are curious, then go and explore other modalities. But just know that in the end, it's all energy. We're using energy for healing, for feeling, for sensing. And so in the end, it doesn't really matter the name of the modality or where it's originated from or how ancient it is. What matters is how much you're able to heal yourself. And I think along the way, it's not just the modality, it's the people you meet and how you allow them to guide you. And when you let go of the titles, which also can carry ego, and you allow yourself to be open to learning from others and how they're doing things, and you allow yourself to merge that information, that's when that greater awakening happens, because it opens up a part of your brain that was closed off before when you follow these old constructs like just qigong or just reiki or just shamanic practices or only one type of meditation is the best meditation. I don't agree with that. I think that we all have to find something that resonates with us where we're at on our journey and just go deep into it. So
I fully so resonate with it. Coming back to my journey when I discovered first Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I've done his online courses, and I was doing one meditation every day for 1 year, and it was
wow.
profound and it changed me. However, at some point, I saw that I need to keep expanding because it's a
Yes.
journey. And when I discovered that there is so much more, as you mentioned during one of your answers, that when you open up yourself to the whole beautiful world of spirituality, of awakening, of energy, you realize that there is always more. And when you start exploring, meeting amazing people as you who are bringing their experience, the journey becomes absolutely incredible. It's every day new, and it's only build up your understanding and expansion. Thank you
Yes,
so
and you
much.
can share with each other, right? And that's something that I'm really loving with building this community with like-minded people where you are sharing. There's no competition, right? There should never be any competition because the idea is expansion. And there's no expansion if there's competition, right? Because you're just constantly fighting and there's no community with competition. So removing that competition and just focusing on expansion and love and helping each other, I think that is what the beauty is that lies inside of this community that you're building. And I love it. I love the sharing the information. I love the meditations that you're doing. I love your energy, by the way. I respect you so much for all the work you're putting into this. I'm really taking notes because this is something definitely that I have been lacking in my human self. I am not so great at. And I'm like, wow, look at them. They are doing great. Like you are just on fire. And I absolutely love it. I was just telling my husband, like, this guy's on fire. Like he's pumping out like videos and he's got his podcast going. So I just got to say, keep going because you are just really gathering a troop of people together. And this is just the beginning. So I'm so excited to be part of that.
Thank you. Thank you. I came to this realization meeting people like you. When we come together, when we see each other, when we interact, we are so expanding. And I absolutely love what you said. There is no competition because when you come to the energy to understand that there is love, there is only abundance. There is no
Yes.
competition. So whatever we're doing for ourselves and for others. And
Yes.
that's community is built on people like you. So thank you so much for bringing your energy because our energy multiplies. So everyone who is coming to the community, they are expanding community. We all family of light, and it is the most exciting feeling that I and everyone in community could have. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
what I
Thank
would
you
like
for
to
having
do
me.
what I would like to do, I would like to let people know how they can follow you, how they can learn more from you, how they can stay in touch with you. We will be dropping links to beautiful work that Angelica is doing, but maybe you can share how people can stay in touch with you.
Yeah, sure. So you can find me at ahealersjourney.co. That's www.ahealersjourney.co. And my link is also there. It's the same thing, Healer's Journey on Instagram. There's a link to that on my website as well. And so that's how you can stay in touch with me or reach out if you're curious or even if you have any questions and need resources. Like I said, I'm here to assist those that were once where I was and I was lost. And now that I'm here, I can help others find their way. So even if it's just resources, you want to know who I studied with or what classes I took, hey, reach out and I'm here to help.
Thank you so much. We're gonna drop all the links so people can easily find you. It is immense pleasure and it is so much light that you are bringing to this world. Keep going, and I'm sure we will have many more podcasts with you. We'll be talking and organizing the group. So thank you so much, dear Angelica. For everyone who is listening, you can follow Angelica in the links that she mentioned and stay in touch with her. And if you like, you can subscribe and comment to this beautiful episode. We are creating it with love and light. Thank you so much.
And let's not forget, let's go Galactic.
Yes, that's the term that was coined with beautiful Angelica. Let's go galactic. We already know that we are not only one species on trillions of worlds and stars. As much as we love ourselves, let's love also our families, galactic families. So the term go galactic is the term that was coined for this podcast.
That's right. T-shirts coming soon.